Welcome to my side of town.
Good day, and welcome to my side of town. This is our premiere telecast. And for the next 30 to 45 minutes, we'll be touring you around the neighborhood, meet interesting people, and learn amazing stories and facts of things that maybe you thought never existed. We'll be also going to talk about visual and performing arts and music that particularly defines the culture of a certain generation. So these and more here in my side of town after the break. I am Dante Luzon.
Before IMG,
I was a civil engineer.
Accountant. I was a plain housewife.
Before IMG, I used to be a doctor.
I was a maintenance crew.
manufacturing operator.
I'm a housewife.
I was an accounting clerk.
I'm a medical doctor.
I am an engineer.
Before IMG, I used to be a teacher.
I was a government employee.
A production worker.
Geologist. I am a bank employee.
Before IMG, I was an admin staff.
I was a seaman.
Design engineer.
I was a deli manager.
I was a telecom engineer.
Before IMG, I was quality director.
I used to be a doctor.
Production operator.
Industrial engineer.
IT home-based freelancer.
Before IMG, I was a manufacturing specialist.
I was an exporter.
Engineer.
Software developer.
Admin officer.
I was a florist.
Before IMG, I was a service crew.
I'm great.
I am great.
I am
G.
I am great. IMG. IMG.
I am G. I am great. I am
G.
I am great.
I am great.
I am great.
Welcome to my side of town.
I'm deeply honored because our guest is somebody closer to the family, closer to us, and he is a famous personality in Cebu. He has a regular column at the Freeman Daily and Philippine Star, host of the longest running TV show, 19 years or 18 years, 19 years as a matter of fact, Straight from the Sky, aired on SkyCable and MyTV, and also host of TV show My Catechism, still on MyTV, the managing director of MyTV Cebu, our boss, the person who prodded and inspired me to come up with my own show as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in my side of town, Mr. Valeriano Bobby Avila. Hi, Sir Bobby.
Well, welcome to the world of talk show host.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So I thought there's nobody else fitting to be my first guest, especially now that we have this premiere telecast. So thanks to you.
Well, Dante, very few people have really interviewed me for the simple reason that I do the interviewing myself. And nobody has gone the history that I have been through. And most people go into what you call radio interview, newspaper interviews, but kung TV interview, it's only straight from the sky.
Okay.
So you're welcome.
So it is now a reverse process. I used to interview people, now I'm the one interviewing you.
Please do that. Go ahead.
Right. Sir Bobby, I'd just like to backtrack a bit because your family name, Avila, has always been synonymous to Cebu's history, lifestyle, culture. As a matter of fact, your grandfather, Don Jose Avila, founded Teatro Jonquera or Teatro Oriente. Am
He
I right?
bought Teatro Jonquera from an American. It was a playhouse, and then when the Americans turned it into a theater, he bought into it and turned it into Oriente Theater. And then he ran it as a black and white silent films, and it became eventually a colored film, Technicolor, and then World War II came, and the Oriente was bombed by the Americans during World War II and was destroyed.
Okay, so After the bombing, was the movie house being built
Yeah,
again from the
Don
ashes?
Jose Avila rebuilt it in 1950s, and it stands to the same. Actually, the frontage of that theater still stands today.
Okay. So only few people know that. So
Very few people.
this is a very interesting discussion with you because, you know, ladies and gentlemen, every time I talk to Sir Bobbitt, as if I'm reading a book, because I learn a lot of things, especially the history of Cebu. Now, sir, your family ran a chain of movie houses in Cebu City, and you eventually took over managing the business. But being the third sibling, the third
Son of Jesus Avila.
Jesus Avila, supposed to be is the eldest who's supposed to be run the business, but you were the one taking charge.
Actually, even my father was the only boy, and he was the only surviving son because his elder brother Bing died during the sinking of DSS Corregidor.
Oh.
So he was the youngest in the brood of Don Jose Avila. Most of them were girls or women. So Don Jose Avila ran the theater for him. And then since my brother went to the States and studied in the States and eventually worked in the UN, and my elder brother worked as a architect, so the poor me had to be the guy to run the theater with him. So I went with my father to Avenida or Rizal Avenue and in Manila, and I would do the bookings also with my father until he died, and then that's why I'm close friends with Johnny Litton, Mother Lily.
The movie producers.
Yes,
in Manila.
even now,
stars, even actors and actresses of Manila-based
yes,
stars.
that time even Sharon Cuneta, the mayor of Lipa, was this?
Recto, Vilma Santos.
Yeah, Vilma Santos. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Vilma Santos.
So, up to what year you managed the business?
I've managed it until probably towards more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I sort of shifted my activities towards, I started writing 30 years ago, but it became part of my life already.
With the birth of the malls, it really, you know, the movie houses in Colon, which is supposed to be the commercial district of Cebu City, was adversely affected.
Well, you know, I was the only, if not I remember, if I was the president of the Metro Cebu Theaters Association, and I don't remember me being replaced.
Okay.
So call me the dictator for a lifetime, because as I said, I was never replaced, and this, what you call, the business has changed. I used to go to Manila every other month to do the bookings myself, talking to productions, film productions, independent movie producers, or what you call exhibitors. And then what I did was really write down all the booking schedules, put it down. That's why for me, one whole year is a what you call 52-week proposition. And since then, when the malls came, the downtown theaters became just part of it. So the bookings are now done by them, and we are just shared. What you call it, they're given a share of what they will be showing. So the bookings is actually easier now than before.
Now let's go back to the journalism side of you, because of course people know you not only as a TV host but as a opinion maker, columnist of the Freeman, and of course Philippine Star. What motivated you to go into journalism, or who inspired you to go into journalism?
Actually, nobody. Actually, in the last maybe in the 85, I was being attacked by a columnist. I will not mention him, he died already.
Why?
Every day, because the movies, he didn't like the movies that I was showing, because there was a time when they were called bomba films.
Oh yes, I remember
and he would attack me. It's not like the movies that my father used to show. And then eventually, that sort of, I could not answer because I was not a columnist. And they would dare me to answer him. And I said, what for? Why should I answer when I don't write columns? Then in 1987, after the EDSA revolution, we invited in the Rotary Club Max Oliven.
All right.
And then a year later, invited him as a speaker for the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, of which I was vice president. And I picked him up in the airport. And when I picked him up, I invited him as what you call Philippine Star, Inquirer columnist. And when he arrived in the airport, he was bringing a host of newspapers, and it was entitled Philippine Star. And I was surprised. I invited you. I said, I'm out of that newspaper. I founded this new newspaper called Philippine Star.
Okay.
And then, during the speech that he had in St. Teresa's College, after that speech, we went to Casino Espanol, and during a Q&A, I told him about the problem with Manila columnists or journalists is that they write about Cebu as if it was Bible truth, but actually it's fourth-hand, fifth-hand information.
Yes.
And everybody kept quiet. You could hear a pin drop. And Max Sullivan looked at me across the table and said, "You're right. You're correct." And I drove him back to Cebu Plaza Hotel, and he told me, "Are you available tomorrow for breakfast?" It's a Sunday. I said, "Yes, I'll go." We had breakfast, and he offered me to write with him. And I said, I'm not a journalist." And he said, "What? You speak good English." And he said, "You should be a journalist." No, I was never invited. So here I am, Max Sullivan telling me, "I can teach you." And I said to myself, hey, if Shakespeare offered you and taught you Shakespeare, isn't that a blessing? So in a way, Max Sullivan was what you call the dean of columnists.
Yes.
So I said to myself, where do I get this opportunity? So I accepted it. Here I am.
You're writing for Philippine Star. Which came first, the Freeman or Philippine Star?
Actually, Philippine Star as a alikabok. When Max needed things to write about Cebu, I would report to him. I would write. I would start writing like a column and send it to him.
Okay.
And he sometimes would change about 80%.
Right.
Then eventually 40%.
Okay.
And then eventually he would not change it anymore.
Right.
But it's inside this column.
Okay.
And then he said when Nito Habat, the late Nito Habat of Freeman, offered me to write, and I asked Max Sullivan, he said, "Good, practice mo yan." So he named my first and only column at the time, which until now I still do write, Shooting Straight.
Shooting Straight.
And the time, even my show later on, Straight from the Sky, was named by Max Sullivan.
There are a lot of things really I want to talk to you about, but we're kind of short of time. So I'd like to just fast forward to the time, because you were so vibrant, you were full of life and energy, vigor, you're into a lot of things. And then suddenly the big blow came when you had your liver ailment and
Kidney transplant.
Kidney ailment, and you underwent the surgery. So what happened?
I've never been hospitalized in my 65 years at the time. I have never been hospitalized. The only time I go to the hospital was when my wife was having a child. So finally, I had a fever, and I had to go to the hospital for one reason, because I was leaving for the U.S.
Okay.
with the Cebu U.S. First flight. I was invited by Pal. So I was tested by the nephrologist. It was the first time I met her. And she asked me, "I'll release you tomorrow, basta you come back to me when you come back from the States." When I came back from the States, she told me my kidneys were failing. And that was a reality I tried to avoid, but at the end of the day, the reality cannot be. Sometimes the Lord gives you things to put some breaks in your life.
So was the surgery the first option and the last
Well,
option, or was there another option?
When there is no more options, you have to have a kidney transplant or a dialysis. And my daughter, who is a dialysis nurse at the time, told me that he would not want me to go undergo dialysis for the simple reason that the needles that is plugged into your veins bigger than McDonald's straws. So there you are. And the father of my son-in-law died while he had dialysis. So there you are.
So the surgery was the very wise and right decision.
Not only that, I did it in Vicente Soto.
Yeah.
People would not believe that I would go to a Vicente Soto for a major operation like this, but they're actually the #1 in Cebu because it was created by Dr. Ona at that time.
Sir Bobby, we're running out of time, but I'd just like to, this is for the record, we've been working together in MyTV for almost 2 years now, and there was a time, I have to admit, that I felt burnout and I want to give up. But when I look at you, here's my boss who had a kidney transplant and even older than I am, and he's still on the go. Despite what happened, you become my source of strength, and I would like to thank you for that.
But Dante, for me, I've seen my grand-uncle, Dr. Manuel Segura, the brother of my grandfather, Valeriano Segura, who died in Bataan. My grand-uncle was city health officer of Cebu City. I think he was the first. But when he retired, I think he didn't last 1 year. He died.
Oh, Sir Bobby, I couldn't thank you enough for this opportunity, for giving us time for this very, very rare but fruitful interview that I am having with you now. So I would like to thank you.
Well, for me, Dante, I'm looking at you that you are still way past your retirement age. And for me, we journalists should not retire. I think we should actually die with our boots on.
Correct. I agree with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby Avila, thank you, sir, again.
Thank you, Dante, for your beautiful talk show, which is starting today.
We'll be back in a short while. Just hold on. More to come in My Side of Town.
Welcome to My Side of Town.
Be kind to your eyes with Transitions lenses. Transitions adapt to changing light while protecting your eyes from glare and UV.
Five of 7 marine turtle species in the world can be found in the Philippines. But these marine turtles are threatened by human activities. Stop poaching, egg hunting, slaughter, illegal fishing, and pollution. Help save our endangered marine turtles. A friendly reminder from MyTV Cebu, your channel, my channel, and also brought to you by the International Marketing Group, or IMG, Kaiser International Health Group Incorporated, and De Los Reyes Optical Clinic.
You're in My Side of Town, and this is our premiere telecast. Names like Frida Kahlo, Georgia O'Keeffe, Leonora Carrington. These are just some of the world's renowned lady visual artists. But here, Cebu in particular, we have also lady painters whose works are at par with their national and international counterparts. One of them is Sonia de la Torre Erastorza, a fine arts graduate of UP Cebu, and Sonia's works proved or an example of her versatility as an artist as she switches medium from watercolor to acrylic to oil on canvas and mixed media, so to speak. So we're privileged to talk to this prolific artist in person, up close and personal, in her own residence and studio. So let's take a look.
Sonia de la Torre Erastorza, one of Cebu's prolific female artists. Her paintings, ranging from watercolor, acrylic, oil, and mixed media, speak of her versatility as an artist and her love for the beauty of life.
Son, I've known you since back in the early 80s because we were together in one production. But I didn't know that you were into arts. I didn't know that you even paint until we met again in Cebu. So I just want to ask, what age did you start painting and who or what inspired you to paint?
Actually, I started painting when I was in high school. I think I was 14 years old or something like that. And I started because, actually when I was a kid, I always wanted to draw. Sige ko makasabaan because my books always had unauthorized drawings, kanang doodling, and bitaw. Pero I started nga paint gyud with oils high school. That was the time when you offer ang Inmaculada, where I studied at that time. They offer like Saturday workshops. So I took it because I always was interested. My father collected art. So I met a few artists and I had a few art books. So murag ka ng pag-offer ato, I felt na, opportunity, no? So I took that and then after a while, I just kept, like weekend lang, until I entered fine arts in college.
Inspired by her father, who was an art collector, Sonia relentlessly pursued her passion for visual arts. She enrolled at the UP Cebu School of Fine Arts under the tutelage of some of the great Cebuano masters.
When Avila was here, na-influence niya sila Mulong. Si Sim. And then this generation silang Kimsoy. Kimsoy studied under Abeliana. So mapasa bitaw murag siya.
You had an antique shop back then. So when that was still operational, was it a combination of the antiques that you were selling there and at the same time your paintings also?
At that time, when we had this antique shop, it was family owned. I used the space, the second floor, to hold art workshops every summer.
What's your favorite, or what medium are you most comfortable with?
I switch mediums pretty much regularly. I like watercolor because there are some subjects that would just look right with watercolor. And then I do a lot of oil, but I also do acrylic. So the three actually.
At present, Sonia Erastorza is the president of Cebu Artists Incorporated, or CAI. Her dynamism, fueled by her undying love for visual arts, has opened the door for budding artists to showcase their works to the Cebu art community.
I feel the visual medium is a very powerful medium, and to make use of that power to create positive thought and positive feeling. So I try to paint as much as possible something that is positive.
When I'm with Sonia and other visual artists, I get naturally high, not only because we share a common interest, but the passion we have for the arts. And of course, we believe, I hope you agree, that art doesn't require age limit and nobody can question your style. So that's for sure. Arts is therapeutic and it's more than just a pastime. Art can be an escape, a stimulus, a war cry, or a tranquil reprieve. This is my side of town. We'll be back in a short while.
Welcome to my side of town.
Before IMG,
I was a civil engineer.
Accountant.
I was a plain housewife.
Before IMG, I used to be a doctor.
I was a maintenance crew.
manufacturing operator.
I'm a housewife.
I was an accounting clerk. I'm a medical doctor.
I am an engineer.
Before IMG, I used to be a teacher.
I was a government employee.
A production worker.
Geologist. I am a bank employee.
Before IMG, I was an admin staff.
I was a seaman.
Design engineer.
I was a deli manager.
I was a telecom engineer. Before IMG, I was quality director.
I used to be a doctor.
Production operator. Industrial engineer.
IT home-based freelancer.
Before IMG, I was a manufacturing specialist.
I was an exporter. Engineer.
Software developer.
Admin officer.
I was a florist.
Before IMG, I was a service crew.
I'm great.
I am great.
I am
I am great. IMG. IMG.
I am G.
I am great.
I am
G.
I am great.
I am great.
I am great.
Welcome to my side of town.
I'm excited because our next guest is a former colleague of mine and she was very visible on BoobTube anchoring TV Patrol Central Visayas. As a matter of fact, we anchored that news program together for quite some time, and she's one of the finest that we had. She actually started as our intern, and eventually the company decided to hire her as a regular employee, as a reporter, anchor, and she was also our Cebu anchor for ANC, and eventually she pursued law and became a lawyer, and then went back to anchoring again until she decided to shy away from the camera. I don't know. I will find out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the beautiful attorney Heidi Acuna. Hi.
Hi, pleasure, Sir Dan. I cannot say no to Sir Dante when he
Thank you.
invited. Di ko kabalibad. So
Thank
here
you.
I am.
Thank you. It's a trip down memory lane. for
Yes,
me.
it's been such a long time since we've been
Yeah.
together on cam.
I remember you were a thin, pretty intern from St. Teresa's College. What year was that when you had your internship with us?
That was 1997, the summer of 1997. I was not yet finished with my mass comm and STC, so the internship was a requirement for our mass comm curriculum, and then I was officially hired the summer after that in 1998.
I remember during your internship, you usually go to the field with your reporter. Was it Junrey Nadella who's with you there?
Junrey and Sir Ramil Paikan. But I also did desk work, assisting the producers compile reports and gather mga updates from the reporters on field.
And then eventually you became an anchor.
Yes, because young people should realize that when they do OJT or internship, it's like one big audition for a possible job. So you have to be very, very enthusiastic and give it your best, not just for compliance. That was my thinking back then.
Tell me about your first on-cam experience, if you could still remember. How was it?
Actually, before my internship, Sir Dan, in 1997, I tried to apply. I was under Sir Leo Lastimosa in his Cebuano writing
Because
class.
he was teaching sa STC
Yes,
that time.
in 1996. I auditioned, and then that was after the TV Patrol na newscast, the auditionees would sit down and read the reports for the day, and then excited kay ko, I was planning my outfit, but only to realize that I could not read the prompter because mag-glasses man ko.
Oh, yeah.
And then they asked me to take off my glasses, and I couldn't read a word. So
That's why you wore contacts.
so 1997, I came prepared with contact lens na.
Yeah. I remember we went to Manila. Was that, I don't know what year was that, when we were together in this merchandising plug for news?
Oh yeah, that was in Tagaytay, 1999.
1999.
Yes.
Good memory. I couldn't even recall what year was that. But
No, wait, for the 1998 election coverage day, I'm sorry. Yeah, I remember.
katong daghang kayta.
Yeah, we were walking down the hills of Tagaytay. Na siya.
And then there was a gap, I think, because I think you went to Manila for a while. You left ABS and you went to Manila and pursue law. Was that it? I'm not sure.
Actually, I was a working student in the University of San Carlos. So I would do my duties for TV Patrol in the morning, and at night I would go to law school. And then one of the people who helped me travel from Hagubiao, it's a long journey from Hagubiao to P. del Rosario.
You can say that again.
Oh yeah, so and then at that time they were still building the Marcelo Fernan Bridge. So I would always take a ride, mag-back ride ko sa motor ni Ramil Ayuman, who was also a colleague back then, reporting for DYAB. So pinwi ko hitch with Ramil until niabot 4 years after I graduated as a working student.
Actually, you started your career sa old ABS-CBN studio.
Yes, in P. del Rosario.
Yes, we're ACT now. Tell me about your most memorable experiences as a reporter. The beats that you covered, the things that you covered, the scoops, etc.
I was assigned first practically I was sent to Capitol and the Palace of Justice to cover. I never went through the police beat, which is supposedly the first assignment of every reporter.
That's SOP supposed
yes.
to be.
But I never
sa police beat
pero
first.
wag ko kasuway og police beat, so I missed that opportunity to be a police beat reporter. I went straight to Capitol covering then Governor Pabling Garcia and then all the cases that we were covering back then in the Palace of Justice, one of which was the Chong case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which now
also convinced me to become a lawyer. Okay. So inani din yung mag-abogado, nangapriso mga mga abogado that time. I-contempt sila ni Judge Ocampo, and then for me covering it, that was so exciting, and inani din so dramatic being a lawyer.
Did you cover the alleged suicide of Judge Ocampo?
Yes, I was a reporter and producer at that time. Atong nga time lisod kaayo to cover it. We could not confirm it because wa pa kay cellphone mga tao, and then so I was there when I wasn't there when it happened, but I was there when it broke. But my most memorable really, natatak jud sa akong mind, would be the Ginsaogon landslide.
Oh, yeah.
The scope of the destruction,
yes.
There was nothing like it before until Hayan came. But when Hayan came, I wasn't a reporter anymore.
And you were our anchor for ANC, and me personally, and I think the people in Luzon would agree that you were a very good material for the Manila platform. Was there an instance that the main office, the newsroom in Manila, offered you to join them there?
No, the main anchor for ANC or Sari Manok News Network back then.
SNN, yeah.
Was Rosemary. So I was a producer for and a reporter, and when she would not be in town, I would pinch hit for her. But it never really occurred to me to work as reporter in Manila because I was born there. I lived there for a bit, and the pace, and the quality of life in Manila wasn't really for me.
I mentioned that because I don't know if my memory serves me right. The late Dante Javelosa
yes.
Spoke highly of you, and he said that girl should be in Manila. So I don't know. That's why I asked is if was there an offer for you to join?
Yes, there were. It was being talked about, and then especially after the coverage involving the release of the kidnapped victims from Basilan, the Abu Sayyaf kidnapping of the Sipadan hostages. They were released and they were brought to Cebu, and then I helped produce the Cebu side of the release when they were all brought here before they were brought to Manila.
Okay, let's move a bit from journalism to being a lawyer. So what prompted you to pursue law?
Well, I was imagining, because I'm fond of making plans, like in 10 years, what do I want to be, how do I want to transition, because I'm a firm believer that to be able to survive, you should be able to transition and reimagine yourself, repackage yourself, and then there must be something more that out there that you can pursue. So I tried studying law but the purpose back then was to put something extra, additional learnings, and then if you make it as a lawyer, if you pass the bar, then perhaps you can be a lawyer too. And then that was also the time when anchors, lawyers who also work as anchors became in vogue, diba? There were other stations with anchors as lawyers, so I guess I also fit in that mold. So wala na siya. And now I transitioned to the judiciary.
How do you juggle your time now, being a mother of a 6-year-old girl, and your career as a lawyer, and eventually a judge, if you know, and your others, like you endorse commercial products also?
Yes, on the side. That's my after leaving TV Patrol and ABS Cebu for good. That was my parang kalingawan nga kanang on-cam, because it's fun working on-cam, really.
So how do you manage
your time? Okay, for as long as you're clear about maintaining your the idea of being multifaceted, meaning I don't want to be just work, home. I want my daughter to see me as someone who can do everything, can be anything, because if my daughter sees me na kanang kaya ni na akong buhaton mga kanima butanga and be the best that I can be whatever I want to be, I can be a shining example for her that she can also be whatever she wants to be. So kanang in ana imuhang mindset that you can do all these things, you can allocate time, kasi if you really want to, you can find the time.
The broadcast landscape has definitely changed, especially with the onslaught of the social media,
yes,
which affected adversely some other media outlets. What's your take on that?
Well, that's just the nature of the game and the nature of the medium. That's why, as I said earlier, you have to be ready to transition. You have to be constantly learning how to do things. You cannot, the skills that you had 10 years ago are no longer relevant now.
Yes.
So you, Sir Dan, is a very good example of who was able to transition. I mean, from a generation of katong analog to digital to social media, di ba? Yeah, exactly. So very enduring. But those who cannot adapt, they really have lesser chances of survival. But I think the game now is really content creation. And how do you create content if you don't read, if you're not a wide reader, if you're not naturally curious? So you gotta have skills that are matched with the new technology, and at the same time constantly curious. So you can create content for your audience. Di ka mahutdan o material.
You're the future judge, Heidi Acuna. So when will this be?
Oh, I really don't know, Sir Dan, because I just applied actually after I've been working in the judiciary since 2011 in the Court of Appeals, and then after, because I thought that was a good train. After 7 years of private practice, I thought that perhaps I can be a judge because that is the perfect job for me. I like the demands of the job, what it required from lawyers. So I trained under my professors, Justice Gabriel Ingles in the Court of Appeals. And then just last year, I applied to become a first level court judge. And now I'm awaiting if I will be blessed with an appointment. I am hoping for it.
I'm confident.
I am hoping not to get a position, but I'm hoping to be able to given the opportunity to serve in the judiciary.
And hopefully the next time you'll guest in the show, it's Judge Heidi Acuna.
No, I cannot guest anymore if I'm a judge.
Why?
Okay? Their life is very regimented. They are very,
is that so?
They have to curtail their social life, and then
do you like that?
yeah, I am kind of okay with it. That's why if you go through my Facebook timeline, I hardly ever comment about current events.
Yeah. Your post is more on your daughter and your sports activities and things like that.
Because you have to hold back, because if when you're in the judiciary, you have to be neutral or appear to be neutral. You cannot have opinions about these things and make it public.
Right. So with that, I would like to thank you for finding time with us in My Side of Town. This is our premiere telecast.
Thank you very much.
I couldn't thank you enough. And I wish and I miss the times that we anchored TV
Together,
Patrol together. I wish we could do that probably next time. Not necessarily news, but probably a talk show.
Yeah.
Who knows? But when you become a judge, that would be impossible.
I like covering Sinulog. Actually, I miss it.
You like? Okay, we'll talk about it. Because we'll be covering it live next year. And
no,
we
but
need
I
anchors.
dance the Sinulog now with San Diego Dance Company.
Alright.
Murag panata ba? 2 years now.
All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Dan.
Ladies and gentlemen, attorney Heidi Acuna, and we'll be back for more in My Side of Town in a short while. Please stay tuned.
Welcome to My Side of Town. Five of 7 marine turtle species in the world can be found in the Philippines. But these marine turtles are threatened by human activities. Stop poaching, egg hunting, slaughter, illegal fishing, and pollution. Help save our endangered marine turtles. A friendly reminder from MyTV Cebu, your channel, my channel, and also brought to you by the International Marketing Group, or IMG, Kaiser International Health Group Incorporated, and De Los Reyes Optical Clinic.
Recently, one of Cebu's prolific and award-winning songwriters, Eugene Tan, a friend of mine, launched his debut album, Mga Awit ni Eugene Tan. And it's released by the Cebuano Music Division of BMN Records and licensed by BMN Music in Australia. And Eugene Tan's album contains 12 tracks of his original compositions in Cebuano, sung by Eugene himself. Let's take a look.
Awit sa kapakyasan, awit sa kalampusan, nindut paminawon sa karangkong gitara.
Songs of pure innocence and simplicity, of one's beautiful past, the days of our youth. These are the message of Eugene Tan's compositions, mga awit ni Eugene Tan. 12 songs, all in Cebuano, composed by Eugene himself.
Eugene, tell me about your album. What motivated you to come up with this? What inspired you to come up with the CD album?
Actually, I have no plans of having an album, but my friend, he's a person from Australia. He's a Cebuano, but he's now an Australian citizen. He asked me if I could come up with 12 Cebuano songs so that he can produce it. Well, myself, I have no means of financially producing an album because the reason is the cost. So, but he said that he would shoulder the cost being the producer, so that's why it came out an album.
Produced by Ben Oinay, another Cebuano songwriter now based in Australia. The raw tracks were first recorded at Hilig Music Studio in Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu. The tracks were later sent to Australia for final post-production.
Are these all Cebuano compositions, pure Cebuano?
Yes, actually Cebuano. And the purpose of the album is just to make sure that to preserve the Cebuano language at its purest form. So there is no, what they say, Cebuano language that is being mongrelized. Well, actually all the songs are different types of songs, and it relates to your everyday life. Like for example, if you get angry, there's a song about that. If you fall in love, there's a song about that. And if you like people, you like to go with a person and you can't even say what you want to say, there's a song about that as well.
Eugene Tan's love affair with music began when he was young. Influenced by his musically gifted family and relatives who honed his talent, he began writing songs and joined songwriting competitions. Today, Eugene Tan is one of Cebu's sought-after and multi-awarded songwriters.
Before I was a merchant marine officer, I used to be a seaman, and then later on I tried not to, just like other people, they said you're like a fish if you're a seaman, you don't survive in land. So I tried to do myself to not to go back to the sea and to survive on land. Well, actually I don't have any formal music training at all. Sorry. Well, because I was just influenced by my aunties. When I was young, I used to hear them singing, I used to hear them listening to old songs in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I think that what influenced me, that because what you say, what comes in goes out, right? So I tried to develop my skills in music. And I was even offered a teaching job for a music class in a school, but I declined because I don't have any formal training to show them a paper. A melody comes up, then you have to remember the melody and record it, and then you put words into it. But sometimes if you see a situation wherein you want to write something about that situation, then you can just write it down, put the melodies later. Well, actually, I'm just thinking, like for example, I'm standing in a department store. I see people, and then I see a situation wherein it comes to mind that, oh, this situation is very good. I'd like to write a song about it, so that draws my attention and inspiration.
What was your first award-winning composition?
Well, actually, I made it. I made in the finals, and also as a second prize. But the most important thing that I consider as one of the most masterpieces that I did was a song in 2010 or 2012. I forgot. It's a title Ulan, and that was my first composition that made it to the grand prize. And I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the melody. So that's one of the best feat of my life.
And the rest is history.
The rest was history.
Akong kabatanunan, basta mubunok ang ulan, kalipay kong hilabihan, magdagan-dagan sa kadalanan, magpatungod sa sandayong sa among mga silingan aron kumatagamtaman.
Despite all the accolades, Eugene is rooted on the ground. He now devotes his time in the church, sharing his talent to their music ministry.
Most of the successful singers in the U.S. came from a church choir, so a church singer. So I think that's one of the things that you need to do. You have to serve and use your voice to help promote the hymns and gospel or songs of the Lord.
Eugene Tan, Cebu's pride, truly a Cebuano.
Thank you very much, Eugene, and I hope we can make beautiful music together again, hopefully in the future here in my side of town. It's an honor.
Thank you so much.
Sa matag ulan na dunay pait ug tangkis nga kagahapon mahinumduman. Ulan-ulan luha sa kalangitan, ulan muuga sa kabukiran, ubis-bis sa kapatagan.
Since its launch, the album has gained positive reviews and orders keep on pouring in. Congratulations, my good friend, my Eugene, congratulations. And also kudos to Ben and I, another songwriter who's based in Australia, for producing the album and for always believing in the Cebuano music. May your tribe increase. We'll be back shortly. You're watching My Side of Town.
Welcome to My Side of Town.
Be kind to your eyes with Transitions lenses. Transitions adapt to changing light while protecting your eyes from glare and UV.
We'd like to thank our guests like Sir Bobby Avila, Attorney Heidi Acuna, our featured personalities like Sonia and Eugene Tan, and also thanks to you for touring with us around the neighborhood. Till next time, here in My Side of Town. I'm Dante Javelosa Luzon. Thank you.